At Christmas dinner, in front of almost 20 relatives, my father looked straight at me and said, "Quit your teaching job and raise your sister's baby. She's too busy with her career." My mother immediately supported him and said, "It's what family does for each other." I calmly put down my fork and looked at both of them. Drop your verdict in the comments before the story begins. Let's see if you're right by the end. And if you love revenge stories, don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is Kayla Wood, and this is the story of how my own parents tried to force me to give up my life and career to raise my sister's child, and how I destroyed everything they were trying to protect. I had been working as a high school teacher for 7 years. I loved my job. It wasn't glamorous or high-paying, but it gave me purpose. My younger sister, Madison, had recently given birth to a baby boy. She and her husband both had demanding corporate jobs and didn't want to pause their careers to raise the child. Instead of hiring a nanny or adjusting their own lives, my parents decided that I should be the one to quit my job and become the full-time caregiver for Madison's baby. They didn't ask me, they told me. It was Christmas Eve. The entire family was gathered at my parents' house. After dinner, my father tapped his glass to get everyone's attention and looked directly at me. "Kayla," he said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Madison and Ryan are both working very hard. They need someone reliable to take care of the baby. You're a teacher, so you have summers off anyway. It makes sense for you to quit your job and raise him. It's what family does." My mother nodded and added, "Exactly. You're single, you don't have your own children, and you live alone. This is the perfect solution. Madison needs to focus on her career right now." I felt every pair of eyes in the room turn toward me. Some relatives looked uncomfortable, while others simply waited to see how I would react. I looked at my father and said calmly, "No." The table went quiet. My father frowned. "What do you mean, no? This isn't a request, Kayla. This is what's best for the family." I picked up my glass of water, took a sip, and placed it back down slowly. I'm not quitting my job, and I'm not raising Madison's baby. I already have my own life. My mother's face tightened. "Kayla, don't be selfish. Your sister worked very hard to get where she is. She can't just pause her career because she had a baby. You, on the other hand, are just a teacher. It won't make much difference if you quit." Those words stung, but I didn't show it. Instead, I looked around the table at all my relatives and then back at my parents. "You want to talk about what family does? Then let me tell you what I've actually been doing for the last 7 years. I reached into my bag, pulled out a brown folder, and placed it on the table. My father's expression changed. He asked, "What is that?" I looked him straight in the eyes and replied, "This is everything I've collected about the family business over the last 7 years. Every fake invoice, every hidden transaction, every dollar you moved without telling anyone." The entire table went completely silent. My father's face turned pale, my mother's hand froze mid-air while holding her wine glass. I continued calmly, "I known for years what you've been doing with the company accounts. I stayed quiet because I didn't want to destroy this family. But if you think I'm going to quit my job and raise Madison's baby while you continue to use me, then you've made a very big mistake." I stood up, picked up my bag, and looked at my parents one last time. "Merry Christmas." Then I turned around and walked out of the house. The moment I placed the brown folder on the table and said those words, the entire dining room fell into a heavy, uncomfortable silence. You could hear a pin drop. My father's face had turned completely pale. My mother's hand was still frozen in the air, holding her wine glass. My sister Madison looked like she had stopped breathing. My father was the first one to speak. His voice was low and shaky. "Caleb, what the hell are you talking about?" I looked at him calmly and replied, "I'm talking about the fake invoices you've been creating for the last 7 years. I'm talking about the money you've been moving from the company accounts into your personal offshore accounts. I'm talking about how you've been underreporting profits to avoid taxes. My mother finally put her glass down. Her voice came out sharp and defensive. You don't know what you're saying. You're just trying to create drama because you don't want to help your sister. I shook my head. No, Mom, I know exactly what I'm saying. Because for the last 7 years, I've been quietly collecting evidence. Every fake invoice, every suspicious transaction, every email between you and Dad about hiding money. I have copies of everything. My brother-in-law, who had been sitting quietly until now, finally spoke. Kayla, this is a family dinner. This is not the time or place for this. I looked at him and said, You're right, it's not. But neither was forcing me to quit my job and raise someone else's baby while my own life gets destroyed. I picked up my bag and stood up from the chair. My father slammed his hand on the table. Sit down, Kayla. You're not going anywhere until we talk about this. I looked at him and replied coldly, I'm not a child anymore, Dad. You can't order me around, and you definitely can't force me to give up my life for your convenience. I turned to leave, but my mother stood up and grabbed my arm. Kayla, please, let's not do this in front of everyone. We can talk privately. This is all a misunderstanding. I gently pulled my arm away. No, Mom, it's not a misunderstanding. You both made it very clear tonight what you think of me and my job. You think I should sacrifice everything so Madison can continue living her perfect life. Well, I'm done sacrificing. I looked around the table at my relatives. Some were staring at their plates, while others were watching the drama unfold with wide eyes. Merry Christmas, everyone, I said. Then I turned around and walked out of the house. As I was getting into my car, I heard my father shouting my name from the doorway, but I didn't stop. I drove straight to my apartment. My hands were shaking the entire way, but I didn't cry, not even once. The next morning, my phone started ringing non-stop. My mother called me 17 times. My father called me 9 times. My sister sent me long messages saying I had ruined Christmas and embarrassed the whole family. I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I did something I had been planning for a long time. I opened my laptop and sent all the documents I had collected over the years to my lawyer, Mr. Richard Hale. I had been gathering evidence about my father's illegal activities in the family business for years, but I never had the courage to do anything with it. Until now. 2 days later, Mr. Hale called me. Kayla, he said, after going through everything you sent me, I can confirm that there is strong evidence of tax fraud, money laundering, and financial misrepresentation in your father's company. If we take this to the authorities, it could lead to serious consequences for him. I stayed quiet for a few seconds, then asked, What do you suggest I do? He replied, That depends on you. If you want, we can report this to the IRS and the relevant authorities, but I have to warn you, this will destroy your father's reputation and possibly send him to prison. I thought about everything my parents had done to me over the years, how they always favored my brother, how they belittled my job, and how they tried to force me to give up my life for my sister's convenience. I took a deep breath and said, Do it. I'm done protecting them. After I told my lawyer to proceed with the evidence, things moved faster than I expected. Within 2 weeks, the IRS and federal investigators launched a full investigation into my father's company. They seized documents, froze several accounts, and started interviewing employees. My father tried to act normal at first, but as the investigation deepened, he began to panic. He called me multiple times, sometimes begging, sometimes threatening. Kayla, you're making a huge mistake, he said in one call. You're destroying your own family. If I go down, this will affect everyone, including you. I replied calmly, You should have thought about that before you tried to destroy my life. My mother also tried to reach out. She sent me long messages saying that I was being ungrateful and that I was betraying the family. She even tried to guilt trip me by saying my father's health was declining because of the stress. I didn't respond to any of them. 3 months later, my father was formally charged with tax evasion, money laundering, and financial fraud. The evidence against him was overwhelming. Several employees came forward as witnesses after the investigation began. My father's lawyer tried to negotiate a deal, but the case was too strong. In the end, my father accepted a plea deal. He was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison and was ordered to pay back over $1.8 million in back taxes and penalties. The family business was heavily fined and almost collapsed. My mother had to sell their big house and move into a small apartment. My sister Madison also faced consequences. Because a large part of the hidden money was being used to support her lifestyle, she and her husband came under investigation as well. They had to return a significant amount of money and faced heavy legal fees. Their marriage started falling apart under the pressure. As for me, I continued working as a teacher. I didn't quit my job, and I didn't raise my sister's baby. I kept living my life on my own terms. 6 months after my father's sentencing, my mother came to see me. She looked much older and tired. She sat in my living room and cried as she spoke. "Kayla, your father is in prison. We lost everything. The family is destroyed. Are you happy now?" I looked at her and replied calmly, "No, Mom, I'm not happy about any of this, but I'm also not sorry. You and Dad tried to take away my life and my future because it was convenient for you. I just protected myself. Whatever happened after that, you brought it on yourselves." She didn't have anything to say after that. She left quietly, and that was the last time I saw her. Today, almost 2 years have passed since that Christmas dinner. My father is still in prison. My mother lives alone in a small apartment. My sister and her husband are struggling financially and are going through a divorce. As for me, I'm doing well. I still teach, and I've been promoted to head of the department. I bought a small apartment for myself and live a peaceful life. I don't have much contact with my family anymore, and I'm okay with that. I realized something important through all of this. Sometimes the people who are supposed to support you will try to control and use you instead. And when that happens, you don't have to keep sacrificing your life to keep them happy. Protecting yourself is not selfish. It's necessary. Was it justice? Or was it too much? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe for more revenge stories.